Thinking about buying a home in Texas in 2025? Hold on before you sign that contract. You need to know the shocking truth about some of the most risky housing markets. In the Lone Star State, we're talking high crime rates, unstable job markets, skyrocketing property taxes, and neighborhoods where your investment might sink faster than you think. And trust me, number one on our list will surprise you. So grab a coffee, sit tight, and let's make sure you don't make a costly mistake. Texas has always been seen as the land of opportunity, affordable homes, no state income tax, and plenty of room to grow. But the reality in 2025 is far more complicated. The real estate boom of the last few years has created hot spots where prices have outpaced incomes. Crime rates have climbed, and economic stability is shaky at best. In today's video, we're counting down the top 10 worst cities to buy a home in Texas in 2025. For each city, we'll break down current median home prices and how much they've changed, crime statistics you can't ignore, job market trends and unemployment rates, local property tax burdens and cost of living, and the overall risk factor for home buyers. Whether you're a first-time buyer or an experienced investor, knowing these danger zones could save you tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of regret. Oh, and if you like staying ahead in the real estate game, make sure you subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts, your trusted source for real estate insights across the USA. Number 10, Port Arthur. Why it's on the list: economic decline. Port Arthur has faced years of slow job growth, relying heavily on oil and gas. When energy prices dip, so does the local economy. High unemployment, job opportunities are limited, making it tough for new residents to find stable work. Population decline. Many people are moving away in search of better opportunities, which drives down housing demand. Hurricane risk. Located on the Gulf Coast, Port Arthur is prone to hurricanes and flooding. Insurance costs can be extremely high. Low property value growth. Homes here may be cheap, but their appreciation rate is among the lowest in Texas. Median home price, $120. Zero, well below Texas average, but stagnant growth year-over-year. Price change, plus 0.5% versus Texas. Average approximately 3%. Crime rate, above state average. Property tax rate, approximately 2.1%. School rating. Many schools rank below state average. Bottom line, Port Arthur might seem like a bargain, but it's the kind of cheap that can turn into a bad investment. High natural disaster risk, low job growth, and slow appreciation make it a risky choice in 2025. If you're thinking of buying in Texas, you need to know where not to invest. Stick around, because the cities at the top of this list might surprise you. And if you want more insider real estate tips, make sure you subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts. Number 9, Laredo. Laredo might have a rich cultural history and a unique location right on the U.S.-Mexico border. But when it comes to buying a home in 2025, it's a risky bet. First, property values here are extremely volatile. While prices might look attractive compared to other Texas cities, the appreciation rate has been slower than the state average, meaning your investment may not grow as fast as you'd hope. Second, economic diversity is limited. Laredo's economy heavily depends on international trade and border commerce. This means that any change in trade policies or border activity can directly impact jobs, local income, and, you guessed it, housing demand. Third, infrastructure and amenities are lagging compared to Texas's booming metro areas. Schools, healthcare facilities, and public transportation options are limited, making it less appealing for many families. On top of that, extreme summer heat, water scarcity concerns, and occasional flooding risks add to the challenges of living here long term. If you're looking for a stable and appreciating property in Texas, Laredo may not be your safest choice in 2025. Subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts for more expert insights before you make your next big move in Texas real estate. Number 8, Lubbock. Lubbock may be known as the hub city and home to Texas Tech University, but in 2025, it's facing several red flags for home buyers. First, property value growth is slowing. The market saw a surge during the pandemic, but recent data shows prices are leveling off, and in some neighborhoods, even declining. Second, economic dependence on education and agriculture makes Lubbock vulnerable to downturns. If either sector struggles, housing demand can quickly drop. Third, climate and environmental risks, including dust storms, drought, and extreme heat, can hurt long-term livability and property appeal. Fourth, while Lubbock offers affordable housing compared to other Texas cities, wages haven't kept pace with inflation, meaning affordability for locals is actually shrinking. Overall, Lubbock may seem like a budget-friendly buy, but in 2025, its growth potential and economic stability are questionable for long-term investment. Subscribe to the Real Estate Scout for the full Texas market breakdown and smarter buying tips. Number 7. Midland. Midland's economy relies heavily on the oil and gas industry, which makes its housing market extremely volatile. When oil prices go up, home prices skyrocket. But as soon as the market drops, property values can fall just as quickly. Economy and jobs. Because of the oil industry's instability, job security here is a gamble. If global oil prices decline, layoffs hit the area fast, reducing housing demand almost overnight. Crime rate. Midland has a higher than average crime rate compared to many other Texas cities. Property crimes like burglary and theft are common, which can be a red flag for both families and investors. Infrastructure and lifestyle. While the city has a growing infrastructure, much of it is geared towards supporting oil operations, not necessarily improving residential quality of life. Entertainment and lifestyle options are limited, especially compared to larger Texas cities. Environment. Dust storms and hot, dry weather can make living conditions challenging for some people. Bottom line, if your income isn't directly tied to the oil industry and you're looking for stability, Midland might be a risky bet for 2025. Don't forget to subscribe to the Real Estate Scout. Number 6. Odessa. Odessa shares many similarities with neighboring Midland, and that's not necessarily a good thing for long-term housing stability. Economy and jobs. The city's economy is heavily dependent on the oil and gas sector, meaning job growth rises and falls with global energy prices. When oil prices dip, mass layoffs are common, and housing demand quickly dries up. Crime rate. Odessa struggles with one of the higher crime rates in Texas, especially in property crimes like burglary and car theft. This can make certain neighborhoods less attractive for families and investors. Infrastructure and lifestyle. The infrastructure is serviceable but aging in some areas. Roads and public facilities can be poorly maintained, and there are fewer entertainment, cultural, and dining options compared to larger Texas cities. Environment. Odessa's arid climate brings scorching summers, dust storms, and low rainfall, which can be tough for newcomers who aren't used to harsh conditions. Bottom line, unless you're moving here specifically for a short-term oil industry job, Odessa poses high risks for property investment, both from an economic and safety standpoint. Number 5. Killeen. Killeen may seem like an affordable option for home buyers, but the deeper you look, the more red flags you'll see. Economy and jobs. The city's economy is heavily tied to Fort Cavazos, formerly Fort Hood, a major U.S. Army base. While this provides some job stability, it also means the local housing market is highly dependent on military turnover. Property values can stagnate or drop when deployments and reassignments increase. Crime rate. Killeen struggles with above-average crime rates, including violent crimes and property theft. This can impact neighborhood desirability and long-term property appreciation. Education and infrastructure. While there are some good schools, others rank below average in Texas. Infrastructure can be inconsistent, with certain areas feeling underdeveloped. Quality of life. Killeen offers basic amenities, but entertainment, cultural activities, and high-end shopping are limited compared to larger Texas cities. Bottom line, unless you have strong ties to the military community, Killeen's economic dependency, safety concerns, and slower property growth make it a risky choice for long-term investment. If you're finding these insights helpful, make sure to subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts for more in-depth real estate breakdowns. Number 4. Waco. Waco has made headlines in recent years for its growing tourism and small-town charm. But behind the scenes, there are real estate red flags you can't ignore. Economy and jobs. While Baylor University and the Magnolia brand have boosted the local economy, Waco still struggles with a relatively low median household income compared to the national average. This can limit how much property values grow over time. Crime rate. Waco faces higher than average violent and property crime rates, which can affect neighborhood safety and long-term desirability. Some areas are improving, but the city overall still ranks below average for safety in Texas. Housing market risks. Waco's home prices saw rapid appreciation during the pandemic, partly fueled by investors and out-of-town buyers. Now, with higher interest rates, the market is slowing, meaning buyers could overpay if they're not careful. Infrastructure and amenities. While the downtown area is developing, many neighborhoods still have limited access to high-end shopping, dining, and healthcare compared to bigger Texas cities. Bottom line, Waco offers charm, but between safety concerns, slower job growth, and a cooling housing market, it's worth approaching with caution before buying. Enjoying these deep dives? Hit that subscribe button for the Real Estate Scouts so you never miss a smart real estate move. Number 3. Beaumont. Beaumont may be known for its oil industry roots and proximity to the Gulf Coast. But for real estate investors and home buyers, there are serious challenges to consider. Economy and jobs. The city's economy is heavily tied to petrochemicals and oil refining. While that brings some high-paying jobs, it also means Beaumont is vulnerable to economic downturns whenever the energy sector slows. Weather and natural disasters. Being in hurricane-prone southeast Texas, Beaumont faces frequent flooding risks and severe storms. This not only impacts safety, but also leads to higher insurance costs and potential property damage. Crime rate. Unfortunately, Beaumont consistently ranks among the higher crime cities in Texas, especially for violent crime. This can lower property values and limit neighborhood desirability. Housing market risks. While homes are relatively affordable, slow job diversification and population growth mean prices may not appreciate as quickly as in other Texas markets. Quality of life. Amenities are modest compared to bigger cities, and many residents commute long distances for better shopping, entertainment, and healthcare. Bottom line, affordable housing comes with trade-offs. If you're buying in Beaumont, be prepared for weather risks, economic volatility, and slower growth potential, like what you're learning. Subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts so you're always one step ahead in the housing market. Number 2. El Paso. El Paso is one of Texas's most unique border cities, rich in culture and history, but its housing market has some important red flags. Economy and jobs. The job market here is largely driven by the military presence at Fort Bliss, cross-border trade, and healthcare. While stable in some ways, the city's economy isn't as fast-growing or diverse as other Texas metros, limiting long-term appreciation potential. Population trends. Population growth has been modest compared to cities like Austin or Dallas, meaning slower housing demand and less competitive resale value. Wages versus home prices. While El Paso remains affordable compared to national averages, wages in the area are relatively low, making it harder for the local market to see big jumps in property values. Geography and location. Being in the far west of Texas, El Paso is geographically isolated. That distance from major economic hubs makes it less attractive for large-scale corporate relocation or rapid real estate booms. Border-related challenges. While El Paso is considered one of the safest large cities in the U.S., its proximity to the border can bring unique policy and economic fluctuations that influence housing stability. Bottom line, El Paso offers affordability and culture, but its slow growth, lower incomes, and geographic isolation make it less appealing for rapid real estate returns. Like what you're learning? Subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts so you're always one step ahead in the housing market. Number 1. San Antonio. San Antonio is famous for its history, culture, and tourist spots like the Alamo and River Walk. But the housing market here has its own set of warnings. Economy and jobs. the city's economy is anchored by military bases, healthcare, and tourism. While stable, it's not growing as rapidly in tech or high-paying industries compared to Austin or Dallas. This can limit wage growth and, in turn, housing price appreciation. Population growth. San Antonio is still growing, but the pace has slowed in recent years. More people are moving to Austin or Dallas for higher-paying opportunities, which may reduce the city's competitive housing demand over time. Crime rate. San Antonio's crime rate is above both the Texas and national averages, especially in certain inner-city neighborhoods. This can deter buyers, impact property values, and influence insurance costs. Affordability and wages. While homes are more affordable than in Austin, wage growth hasn't kept up with rising living costs. This could cause affordability issues for local buyers in the coming years. Flood risk. Some areas of San Antonio are prone to flash flooding due to the city's geography and storm patterns, which can increase insurance premiums and maintenance costs for homeowners. Bottom line, San Antonio has charm and history, but higher crime rates, modest job growth, and environmental risks make it worth careful consideration before investing. Want more insights like this? Subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts, your guide to smarter real estate decisions. So, there you have it, the top 10 worst cities to buy a home in Texas in 2025. Whether it's skyrocketing property taxes in San Antonio, high crime rates in Beaumont, or the struggling job market in Midland and Odessa, each of these cities comes with challenges that could turn your dream home into a financial nightmare. Remember, buying a home isn't just about falling in love with a property. It's about the long-term stability of the market, the safety of the community, and the potential for future growth. If you rush into the wrong area, you could be stuck with a property that's hard to sell, loses value, or costs you more in repairs and security than you ever expected. The real estate market in Texas is full of opportunities, but it's also full of traps. By knowing where not to buy, you can make smarter, safer, and more profitable decisions. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the Real Estate Scouts. We're covering more Texas cities and even diving into Florida, Nevada, and beyond in the coming weeks. This is the Real Estate Scouts, your trusted guide to navigating the housing market, smarter, safer, and always one step ahead. Until next time, stay informed, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next video.